एक्सपीरियंस का एम यही है कि यू रीच अ स्टेट वेयर यू आर इन दैट एक्सपीरियंस 24/7, 24 घंटा उसी अवस्था में आप रहेंगे. दैट इज रियलाइजेशन होता है. यू रीच अ स्टेज वेयर एट द ऐसे करके वेन एवर यू वांट इट यू कैन ब्रिंग दैट एक्सपीरियंस अनटू यू. एक बार 5 मिनट में भी आप कर सकते हो. आप उस स्तर पे पहुंच गए हो साधना के. एज्यूमिंग म्यूजिक के साधना भी मान लीजिए.
About Gayatri Mantra, I heard from a friend that he was doing it, he was mentally chanting it, not doing verbally. So does that work if we chant it mentally, or it has to be chanted verbally only?
So this applies not just for Gayatri. I mean, this applies for all mantras. Perfect mental chanting of a mantra at the initial stages is near impossible, because you will require exceptional concentration. Concentration is again a byproduct of Shakti. So how much Shakti you have, if you, what most people do is that they keep, they don't chant it out loud, but there is lip movement and all that. So I suppose in the initial stages that is fine. Eventually, as the mantra gains more power, as your mind and body transforms a bit, you will be able to chant even without moving up its without any sound. It's entirely, absolutely mental chanting. And in that state, if you can chant a mantra, the power will be tremendously great. But most people will not be able to do that for a longer mantra for any sufficient period of time, which means that you may be able to do 10 counts or 15 counts, and then you will feel like, okay, let's move the lip or something like that. Or the next day you will feel that, it's taking way too much effort and time. So let me just do it 2 or 3 times, and then your discipline will break. So something or the other will obstruct your flow, unless you are very special from birth, which I'm assuming no one is. So there is no problem in initially chanting with slight movement of lips. After you go to a higher state, automatically your mantra will become very silent, and then you will not have to chant so much also. Even one mala will produce tremendous effect if you can really silence your mind, and if you can chant completely silently.
I have a very common man kind of question. From the complete talk, what I could understand is that this whole path is for experience. मतलब सब कुछ experience के ऊपर आ जाता है कि आपको experience हुआ कि नहीं. अगर हुआ उससे ऊपर चाहिए तो ये करिए, उससे और ऊपर चाहिए तो ये कीजिए. There is nothing focus about ये भगवान वो भगवान ये वो. You're demystified it in a very 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 practical way. अच्छा, मैं अपनी बात करता हूँ और वही आपसे क्वेश्चन है मेरा म्यूजिक को लेकर के. जैसे ध्रुपद फॉर्म ऑफ म्यूजिक है, उसके थ्रू मुझे कुछ एक्सपीरियंस हुआ जो से, और जैसा आपने बोला कि वो आपकी आत्मा में बिल्कुल 1000 टाइम्स स्टैम्प कर देगा कि अगले 1000 जन्मों में भी वो आप भूलेंगे नहीं उस एक्सपीरियंस को.
सही बात,
राइट. तो हम एक्सपीरियंस की बात करते हैं, ओनली एक्सपीरियंस की बात करते हैं. तो वो जो एक्सपीरियंस है दैट इज वेरी एडिक्टिव. दैट्स व्हाई आई ट्राई टू लर्न इट एंड आई ट्राई टू मतलब प्रैक्टिस करने की कोशिश करता हूँ. हाउ टू इंक्रीज दैट एक्सपीरियंस, नंबर 1. नंबर 2, क्या मेरे लिए म्यूजिक का ही तरीका है या तांत्रिक तरीका भी है?
So there are two things here. So as I see it, to increase an experience, the aim of an experience is not to stop at the experience. First thing, the aim of an experience is that eventually, and I'm talking only from the sadhana point of view, because my knowledge of music is negligible. I mean, you will be a better person to explain music to me than me explaining to you. But from the sadhana point of view, experience का aim यही है कि you reach a state where you are in that experience 24/7. 24 घंटा उसी अवस्था में आप रहेंगे. That is realization, which is much higher than experience. To increase the spiritual experience to a realization, or perhaps in the case of music, I'm just guessing, it could be that you have a certain experience. Say you play for a certain amount of time, and then उस समय पे आपका ये experience अनुभूति होता है. You reach a stage where at the ऐसे करके whenever you want it, you can bring that experience onto you. एक बार 5 मिनट में भी आप कर सकते हो. आप उस स्तर पे पहुंच गए हो साधना के. Assuming म्यूजिक के साधना भी मान लीजिए. So to do that, there are, at least in the spiritual system, there are a few things required, which is A, discipline, B, patience, because there is experience to realization. Even after the best of your sadhana, there is one thing known as time. Until the right time comes, you will not get it. Nature is not going to allow you. And when is nature not going to allow you? I'm speaking specifically for sadhana point of view. When there are karmic balances you need to pay. For example, you have an experience of a very high state of sadhana, which is, say, a mantra that comes from Shiva's. I was mentioning Lord Shiva has 5 faces. तो उसमें जो ऊपर वाले जो फेस है, which is it's known as the Udhamna face of Shiva. The mantras that come from them are very spiritual. और उसके भी ऊपर एक है जो दिखता नहीं है, that is called the Anuttarana. So in that state, you basically become like almost like a deity, like a god in that state. लेकिन if you start chanting a mantra like that, what is going to happen is that it is going to cause आपके आसपास में, it's going to cause full disruption into your life until it makes you into that kind of recreates into that kind of a being. Otherwise, what will happen? You will stop that sadhana only on your own because you will not be able to handle the pressure. So nature has a check and balance mechanism. On your at an individual level, to increase an experience, you have to keep practicing, b patience. These two are very important because you cannot control time. Everything requires a certain time. You may have to do 10 years of sadhana and then suddenly the next day you may get a tremendous experience and then every day you will keep getting experiences. Then you may think that मैं 10 साल क्या बर्बाद किया, but who knows, maybe that 10 year actually helped you reach that stage. So something like that. And in this, the other thing is that I remember when I first started my sadhana, I was speaking to somebody who was more senior and he asked me one day कि अगर तुम्हें बोला जाए कि you will not attain anything in this lifetime, so are you going to stop your sadhana? I said no. So he said, so this is what is important is this is the question that you must ask yourself. कि अगर you know for a fact that you will not succeed, are you going to give up the path? Are you going to say फिर तो ज़्यादा करके फायदा नहीं है? If that is the attitude, you will definitely not succeed. Your attitude towards practice should be like, even if I don't get a single result, I am not going to reduce the amount of effort that I'm putting from my side. If you keep doing this for decades and decades, there is a possibility that at one point you may actually attain a state which is higher than what you are. Your experiences will become more deeper. There is a weightage to the experiences. There's a experience that will translate into a realization. Because realization here aim सब कुछ का. Once the realization comes, then it transforms you. So this is the way is to practice and the way is to have patience. Because there's no easy route. Especially as you go higher and higher, it's like if you're running a 100-meter race, after the 95, 97 meter, every step will take 10 times more effort. And there, if you give up, you give up. वो किसी को कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. Nobody is waiting to give invitation card के आ जाओ भाई. कोई किसी को universe doesn't care. It's up to you how sincere you are, how desperate you are. So like this.
So for me, if जो आपने मुझे अभी आंसर दिया, उस आंसर से मुझे जो मेरा आंसर मिला वो ये है कि मेरे लिए म्यूजिक ही पाथ है, not necessarily tantric. Because I've already got that experience.
So if you have got an experience in a path, then you should stick. That means that perhaps either something you might have done in your past life, या कुछ तो है connection. So that is the way to enhance. You should look for enhancing your experience in that path. I'm not saying that you are fit or not fit for Tantra because that judgment cannot be made like that, etc. Who knows, maybe years later suddenly आपको कुछ ऐसा हुआ कि you may have an experience in Tantra. I'm just speculate करके बता रहा हूँ, मैं ऐसे नहीं बोल रहा हूँ कि ये होगा या नहीं होगा. So like that. But what you have already achieved, stick to that more strongly. If that itself, if there's some other path you're supposed to enter, this itself will take you there if needed.